You got the promotion, you launched the project, you finally pulled something off, and boom, here come the supporters with smiles as stiff as cardboard. They say, "Wow, congrats, that's huge." But there's a twitch in the eye, a weird pause, or they shift the conversation immediately to themselves. That's not support, that's envy dressed up in social etiquette. The truth? Most people don't want you to fail, they just don't want you to do better than them. And when you do, their ego starts screaming, but they can't show it, so they mask it with politeness. It's envy in cosplay, emotionally repressed, passive-aggressive, and dangerous if you're not paying attention. The Stoics were obsessed with clarity. Marcus Aurelius literally journaled every day about separating appearances from reality. This is exactly what he meant. Train yourself to see through the mask. Not everything that looks like support is support. Watch for the subtle signs. Their tone doesn't match the words. Their body language shuts down. Their compliments come laced with qualifiers. "You're lucky, huh?" Or "hope it lasts." Those aren't well wishes. They're quiet sabotage wrapped in polite noise. And don't expect them to change. A Stoic doesn't try to fix other people's envy. That's their internal war, not yours. Your job is to recognize it, detach from it, and keep moving. Be the emotional adult in a room full of egos still stuck in high school. Most importantly, don't get bitter. Don't match their vibe. Just notice, nod, and note it down in your mental journal. Envy disguised as support is still envy. Don't invite it too close. And if you're still relying on external validation, you've already lost. Be like the Stoics. Get your self-worth from your character, not the crowd. The backhanded compliment, spotting covert competitors. You're actually pretty smart for someone who didn't go to that great of a school. "Wow, I didn't expect you to do so well with that idea." Good for you. These aren't compliments. These are psychological sucker punches dressed in silk. The backhanded compliment is the go-to weapon of the covert competitor. The person who can't outdo you, so they try to outmaneuver your confidence. They don't criticize you directly. That would expose their insecurity. Instead, they lace admiration with poison, just enough to make you doubt yourself, but not enough for you to call them out without looking paranoid. It's not envy that's obvious. It's envy with tactics. The Stoics had a name for this energy: pathe, destructive emotions. People who throw these backhanded lines around are ruled by them. Their ego is addicted to comparison. And because they can't handle you shining without dimming their spotlight, they resort to these underhanded jabs. Here's what makes it worse. They often come from friends, colleagues, even family. They'll do it casually, then play dumb if you catch on. "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." "Right, sure you didn't." So how do you handle it? First, don't react emotionally. That's what they want. If they sense that their jab shook you, they'll double down later. Instead, go Stoic. Observe, detach, and note the pattern. Real compliments uplift, fake ones dent. If you feel a weird shift in your chest after a nice comment, trust that feeling. Your gut often spots envy faster than your brain does. Second, don't shrink. Don't downplay your wins to make them comfortable. That's not humility. That's self-sabotage in the name of keeping peace with people who aren't even rooting for you. Covert competitors thrive in subtlety. Shine brighter anyway. Stoic wisdom. If someone's praise feels like a riddle, it's probably a trap. When they mirror you, not admire you. Imitation is not always the sincerest form of flattery. Sometimes it's just creepy. You ever notice someone start dressing like you, talking like you, copying your ideas or your vibe, and they do it just a little too closely? At first you think, cool, I'm inspiring people, but then you realize they're not admiring you, they're mirroring you. There's a difference, and it's massive. Admiration is respect from a distance. Mirroring, that's envy with a mask and a notepad. These people aren't trying to understand your journey. They're trying to replicate your results without doing the inner work. They copy your language, your mannerisms, even your damn playlist, not because they appreciate you, but because they think if they can become you, they can beat you. It's competition wrapped in cosplay. The Stoics would have laughed. Marcus Aurelius didn't need to mirror anyone. He wrote meditations in a tent during war. Why? Because true identity doesn't need decoration. It needs self-mastery. So here's your move. Spot the difference. Are they inspired by your path or obsessed with your reflection? Do they build with you, or do they just echo what you say to gain ground? And no, it's not always innocent. Some of these people will mimic you until they're close enough to take credit, claim your ideas, or reposition themselves as the real voice. It's not admiration, it's strategy, and you're the blueprint they're stealing from. Don't fall for it. Stoic rule. You don't need to call them out. You just need to outlast them. Copycats burn out because you can't fake character forever. Your identity, that's yours. Let them play dress up. You've got better things to do. The subtle art of shifting the spotlight. You've probably seen it 1,000 times. You share an achievement, a win, something you've busted your ass for, and suddenly the person you thought was happy for you turns the conversation back to themselves. It's not even subtle anymore. One moment you're the center of attention, the next you're competing for it with someone who just mastered the art of a perfect segue. This isn't just narcissism, it's a strategic move. They don't need to belittle your success. They just need to outshine you, even for a second. The best part? They've learned to do it with a smile and a casual tone, so it looks like they're just sharing, not competing. But behind that is envy. They can't let you have the moment. They need to be the one holding the mic, even if it's just for a second. In Stoic terms, this is a masterclass in prosophe, which is the practice of being deeply aware. This isn't just about noticing your own feelings, but watching how others manipulate the space around you. The person who shifts the spotlight isn't looking for conflict. They don't need to come out and say, "I'm better." They just need to subtly pivot the narrative until you're on the defensive, scrambling to get your moment back. It's almost like they've taken a lesson in emotional judo, the art of using your energy to push you off balance while they remain untouched. What do? First, don't get caught in the drama. Stoics believe in autarkia, inner self-sufficiency. You don't need anyone's approval. If they steal the spotlight, let them. If you constantly fight for it, you'll be stuck in their game. And you're better than that. Focus on what you control. The real power comes from your ability to remain calm, unaffected by their need for validation. Secondly, don't give in to the temptation to immediately retake the spotlight. Stoicism teaches you to expect less from others, more from yourself. The emotional adult doesn't throw a fit over people disappearing. They take note, adjust the circle, and keep going. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they sat with you in the dark. If they can't handle the light, that's their problem. Your job isn't to drag the ghost cheerleaders back into the room. Your job is to stop waiting for applause that was never meant for you in the first place. Let the ghosts stay ghosts. You got bigger things to do. Just being honest, the Trojan horse of false advice. Ah yes, the classic opener for unsolicited garbage. I'm just being honest. Translation: I'm about to insult you, undermine your progress, and wrap it in a fake bow of honesty so I can feel morally superior while being a prick. People who drop this line aren't offering wisdom. They're offering judgment, disguised as truth, soaked in insecurity, and delivered with the smug energy of someone who hasn't done half of what you're doing, but somehow thinks they've got the map to your life. Here's how it usually works. You share your plans, start a business, go to therapy, switch careers, and suddenly Captain Realism pops up with, well, not to be negative, but, spoiler, they're about to be. Then comes the cautionary tale, the unnecessary warning, the suggestion to not get your hopes up. all dressed up as concern, all designed to slow your momentum. But the Stoics had a term for this kind of noise: externals. Reacting shows weakness. Stoics knew that. The true test is your ability to keep doing your work, your journey, and not needing to prove anything to anyone. The people who are busy stealing attention, they'll burn themselves out. The quiet achievers who just keep at it, they become unstoppable. In the end, if someone wants to fight for attention, let them. You don't need to. You're already winning by staying focused. The ghost cheerleaders, absent when you win. You've got friends who show up when you're struggling. They lend an ear, drop a "you got this," and hang around while you're in the mud. Cool, right? Until you start winning. Then, poof, they're gone. No likes, no messages, radio silence. Welcome to the world of ghost cheerleaders, people who only support you as long as you're not ahead of them. These people love the underdog version of you. The struggling you is relatable, manageable, non-threatening. But the moment you level up, start doing things they either dreamed about or pretended they didn't want, crickets, they disappear like your old insecurities, quietly, completely, and without a goodbye. Here's the Stoic reality. Not everyone clapping for you in the storm wants to see you in the sun. Some are secretly rooting for your survival, not your success. Why? Because your rise reminds them of their own stagnation. And that's a mirror they don't want to look into. Seneca would say, people reveal themselves in how they react to fortune, not misfortune. Misery loves company, but success reveals character. And when people vanish after your win, it's not a glitch. It's the truth finally showing up. This isn't about becoming bitter or paranoid. It's about paying attention. When you hit a milestone, who's around? Who's genuinely happy? Who doesn't try to one-up you, outshine you, or vanish the second they're no longer your savior? Things outside your control, people's opinions, external, their projections, external. Their need to plant doubt in your mind because they haven't grown enough to chase their own goals, definitely external. And that's the trick. They want their honesty to make you question your path because deep down, your progress triggers them. They can't say, "I'm afraid you'll succeed without me," so they say, "I'm just being honest," and try to disguise their fear as advice. What's the Stoic response? You thank them and ignore them. Seriously, smile, nod, and walk away. Don't argue, don't defend. Why? Because truth doesn't need backup. Your actions will speak louder than their doubts ever could. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." So ask yourself, is their truth rooted in real wisdom or in their own unresolved insecurities? Most of the time, it's the latter. So next time someone tries to Trojan horse their fear into your mind under the flag of honesty, recognize it for what it is: self-doubt, re-gifted. You don't owe them your ear. You owe yourself your focus. When praise feels like a setup, you've heard it before. You're so good at that. Why aren't you doing more? Or, you're the smartest one here, you should take this on. Sounds like a compliment, right? Spoiler, it's a setup, a shiny trap with your name on it. This isn't praise, it's manipulation with glitter. There's a type of person who weaponizes flattery like a con artist with a smile. They pump your ego just enough to steer you where they want you, not where you should go. In friendships, it looks like getting you to overextend. In the workplace, oh, it's a classic. Overload you with tasks, responsibilities, or emotional labor, all because you're so capable. Stoicism calls for prosoph, constant attention to your inner state and outer surroundings, so apply it. When someone praises you, pause, ask, what do they gain from this? Is it admiration or is it recruitment? Are they celebrating your strength or using it to their advantage? This is where ego screws people over. Praise feels good, sure, but if you need it to function, you'll end up saying yes to things you should have laughed at. You'll start confusing validation with value, That's a fast road to burnout, resentment, and becoming everyone's favorite doormat. Real praise? It uplifts without pressure. It doesn't come with a hidden favor, a guilt trip, or a passive-aggressive job offer wrapped in admiration. Epictetus would say, know what's yours and what's not. Your time, yours. Your energy, yours. That weird sense of guilt after a compliment? Not yours. It's them, trying to offload their needs onto your shoulders. So what do? Easy. Say thank you and don't move. You don't owe anyone a favor just because they flattered you. Let the compliment land, then let it go. If it's real, it won't need to trap you to stick. Be gracious, be observant, but don't get played. Not all praise is a pat on the back. Some of it's a push into the fire. The overfixers, when help isn't help at all. Ever tell someone about a goal and suddenly they turn into a life coach you never hired? You didn't ask for advice, but here they are, spreadsheet in hand, planning your entire path like your existence is a broken IKEA project they need to fix. Welcome to the kingdom of overfixers, the people who offer help not to lift you up, but to feel superior to you. Here's the brutal truth. Not all help is helpful. Sometimes it's ego dressed as generosity. These people need to feel needed. Their identity is tied to being the wise one, the fixer, the rescuer. So when you share something, even just to vent, they jump in, not out of compassion, but out of control. They want to shape your life because managing their own is too messy. The Stoics knew better. They warned against attachment to roles we invent for ourselves. If someone always plays the hero in your life, chances are they're not in it for you. They're in it for the performance. Here's how to spot them. They don't listen, they prescribe. They don't ask, they tell. They'll support you by subtly undermining your autonomy. You should do this. If I were you, that's not realistic. All masked as love. But it's not love. It's ego validation at your expense, the Stoic way. Maintain autarkia, self-sufficiency. You don't need to reject all help, but you damn sure need to question its source. Is it empowering you, or is it making you dependent? Real support strengthens. Overfixing weakens. It's like someone pulling you out of a hole you were already climbing out of, just to feel like a hero. So next time someone steps in with unsolicited solutions, pause. Ask, is this about my growth or their control? You'll know by how they react when you say, thanks, but I got this. If they pull back and respect it, cool. If they get offended or double down, that's not humility in the room, that's discomfort, and it's telling you more than words ever could. When your wins make others squirm, you've outgrown their narrative of you. They were fine when you struggled. They clapped when you were almost there. But now that you've actually pulled it off, now you're a problem. Your progress reflects their stagnation, and instead of rising with you, they'd rather retreat or resent. Stoicism teaches apatheia, emotional equilibrium. And this is where it kicks in. Don't take the awkwardness personally. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Their tension isn't your fault. It's their mirror cracking under the pressure of your growth. Here's how to read the room like a Stoic sniper. Watch for those who go quiet when you speak loud about something good. Watch who interrupts your success story to bring up their unrelated drama. Watch who suddenly turns distant after you level up. These aren't coincidences, they're signals, and don't go running to fix it. That's your ego craving belonging. Stoic mindset? You let the room react how it wants. You just stay centered. Your wins don't need validation, they're evidence of work, of discipline, of grit. If that threatens someone, it's because they're not doing enough themselves. Your job isn't to downplay your progress. It's to keep progressing regardless of the applause or the silence. So the next time your win makes the room colder, don't chase warmth. Sit in it, own it, and smile. Because silence after success? That's the loudest proof that you're leveling up. Why they preach values they don't live. Philosophical Hypocrisy 101. Ever met someone who talks like a walking Pinterest quote? They preach humility but flex every chance they get. They tweet about mental health, then gossip like it's an Olympic sport. They scream authenticity, but you've seen them morph depending on who's in the room. Sound familiar? That's not wisdom, that's costume. Welcome to the world of philosophical hypocrites, where values are marketing tools, not lived principles. These people love stoicism, mindfulness, minimalism, whatever's trendy that week. But for them, it's not a lifestyle, it's a prop. They'll quote Seneca in the morning and backstab a friend by lunch. They don't live the code, they sell it. Here's the trick. Most people don't want transformation, they want applause. And preaching values gets them claps without the pain of practice. It's easier to talk about discipline than to show up every damn day when no one's watching. The Stoics weren't about talk. They were about logos, reason in action. They didn't flex virtue, they embodied it. Marcus Aurelius never posted a reel about resilience. He just led an empire through plague, betrayal, and war, quietly, with integrity. So how do you spot the frauds? Their words are louder than their actions. Their advice is universal, but their behavior is situational. They sell ideals, but live contradictions. They say, I value truth, but lie to save face. They say, I believe in growth, but mock others evolving faster. They say, stay humble, but can't stop name-dropping their therapist, their guru, or their morning routine. Stoic move? Prososh, constant attention to self. Don't be distracted by noise. Watch behavior, filter words through consistency, and most importantly, don't become one of them. Live what you claim to believe, quietly, relentlessly, without the dopamine hit of being seen.